A sheet of rain moved across Placid Cove Trailer Park. Lightning made a complicated pattern in the night sky. Nudger held his umbrella against the wind as he walked, and pulled a piece of paper from his pocket to check the address of the trailer he was trying to find. Finally, he found number 307 and knocked on its metal door. When the door opened, he said,
"I'm Nudger."
The woman in the doorway stared at him. Rain blew in, making wet marks on her pale blue dress and ruffling her blonde hair.
"This rain's terrible,"
she said at last, as if seeing beyond Nudger for the first time.
"It is, and it's raining on me."
Her whole body gave a quick, nervous movement as she smiled to apologize.
"I'm Holly and Adams, Mr. Nudger. And yes, you are getting wet. Come in."
The trailer was small and crowded with cheap furniture. Shouts and laughter came from a program on a small black and white TV, which was on a tiny table near a worn-out sofa. The air smelled of food which had been fried too long. Holly moved a pile of magazines from a chair. Nudger folded his umbrella and sat down. She started to speak, then there was that same nervous movement again, as if she'd remembered something, and she walked over and switched off the TV.
"Are you a real private detective?"
I am. Did someone recommend me to you, Miss Adams?
"I got your name out of the phone book. And if you're going to work for me, it can be Holly Ann. Without the Adams."
Except on the check.
She smiled a wicked 12-year-old smile.
"Oh, sure, don't worry about that. I already wrote you a check, I just have to fill in the amount. That's if you agree to take the job. You might not."
Why not?
"It's to do with my fiancé, Curtis Colt."
For a few seconds Nudger listened to the rain crashing on the roof, then he said,
The Curtis Colt. Who's going to be executed next week?
"That's the one. But he didn't kill that liquor store woman, and that's a fact. It's not right that he should have to ride the lightning."
Ride the lightning?
That's what prisoners call dying in the electric chair. Curtis doesn't belong in it, and I can prove it.
It's a little late for that kind of talk. Or did you give evidence for Curtis in court?
No, I couldn't. All those lawyers, and the judge and jury don't even know about me. Curtis didn't want them to know, so he never told them.
Tell me about Curtis Colt. Give me the details.
Well, they say Curtis was inside the liquor store, robbing it. He and his partner had robbed 3 other places that night, but they were gas stations. The old man who owned the store came out of the back room and saw his wife with her hands up, and Curtis pointing a gun at her. He went crazy and ran at Curtis, and Curtis had to shoot him. Then the woman went mad and ran at Curtis, and Curtis shot her. She died. The old man will live, but he can't talk or even feed himself.
Nudger remembered now. Curtis Colt had been found guilty of murder. And because the law had now decided to stop using poison gas to execute people, he would be the first killer to die in the electric chair for more than 25 years.
They're going to shoot Curtis full of electricity next Saturday. Mr. Nudger. I have bad dreams about it. Then I lie awake, thinking, I've just got to do whatever's left to try and help Curtis.
They never caught Curtis's partner, the driver who drove away and left him in that gas station. Did they?
No. And Curtis would never say who the driver was.
But you know who was driving the car.
Yes. And he told me that he and Curtis were miles away from that liquor store when it was robbed. When he saw the police come into that gas station, where Curtis was buying cigarettes, he got out of there fast. The cops didn't even get the car's license number.
Nudger rubbed a hand across his chin and watched Holly in.
The jury thought Curtis shot the old man and the woman deliberately, in cold blood. That's not true. Not according to.
She stopped herself before saying the man's name.
Curtis's friend.
That's right. And he ought to know.
None of this means anything, unless the driver comes forward and says he was somewhere else with Curtis when the liquor store was robbed.
I know. But he won't. He can't. That's why I need you. The witnesses who say they saw Curtis at the liquor store are wrong. I want you to find a way to convince them of that.
4 people. 2 of them customers in the store picked Curtis out of a police lineup.
So what? Eyewitnesses often make mistakes. Talk to them, find out why they think Curtis was the killer. Show them how they might be wrong, and get them to change their stories.
Even if all the witnesses change their stories, Curtis might not get a new trial.
Perhaps not, but the law wouldn't kill him if enough witnesses said they were wrong. Then, maybe, eventually, he'd get another trial and get out of prison. So will you help me, Mr. Nedger?
Sure. Sounds easy.
He had to admire her. She was prepared to believe the impossible. This is the end of part 1. Stay tuned for part 2.
Let me know what you think, what I should do next, and subscribe for daily entertainment videos.